Jai Sri Narayan. I pay my obeisances to my spiritual master, Srimad Jagat Guru Sudarshan Acharyaji Maharaj. I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Ramanuj. I pay my obeisances to the Purva Acharyas. I pay my obeisances to the 12 Alvars. I pay my obeisances to Mother Lakshmi. And I pay my obeisances to Lord Sri Narayan. I welcome all of you here physically at the Sri Narayan Dham in Durban, South Africa. I welcome those that's watching this discourse locally, nationally, and internationally. And I welcome in advance those that's going to be watching this discourse when it is posted on YouTube and the various groups from around the world subsequently. Today, we celebrate Dussehra or Vijayadashami. This celebration culminates after the Navaratri celebrations. I've explained comprehensively that Navaratri is celebrated in the various regions of India in different dimensions. Some celebrated the 8 forms or 9 forms of Mother Durga only. Others celebrated in these 9 nights 3 forms of Maha Kali, 3 forms of Maha Lakshmi, and 3 forms of Saraswathi. And yet again, others celebrated 8 days of Mother Lakshmi, like we did here at the Sri Narayan Dham. Then others celebrated 9 days of reading the Ramayan. However, there is a spiritual flow. There is a spiritual flow in all these different types of celebration that is common in its substratum. It all leads you to spiritual awareness. There is absolutely no contradiction in this simultaneous celebration, although in different dimensions. All this culminates today in Vijayadashami. And what does Vijayadashami mean? Vanita? Sorry? Victorious. Victorious in what? Annihilating the demon. It is a day that we must celebrate scientifically. It is a day we must celebrate scientifically because Sanatana Dharma is absolute science. It's not a religion, it is a science. How do you celebrate this day? By scientifically.
Highlighting some absolute facts.
Highlighting facts is not scientific. Experimenting these facts and experiencing these facts is scientific. Individual experience of the absolute truth is science. Listening to the absolute truth is not science. It's not science. In science, everything is experienced and experimented. So in material science, we experiment with matter. In spiritual science, we experiment with your being, B-E-I-N-G, which ultimately is yourself or your soul. So how can we experience this Vijayadashami? Ram annihilated Ravana. And I'm smiling, why? Why am I smiling, Tibesmi? Why are you laughing when I'm smiling, Tibesmi? I laugh or I smile. What invoked the laughter? Because I think about 3 years ago, Vasudeva, I was discussing Lord Ram's victory over Ravana. Who was here to remember? You remember Tivashni, Nilandri, you remember? Vanita, you remember? I was discussing Lord Ram's victory over Ravana, and our in-house Ravana is who? Vasudeva, stand up, let everyone see the in-house Ravana. Alright, okay, Vasudeva, you can now sit. So our in-house Ravana. As I said this, we were in a hall. We used to have satsang where? Kampara Convention Center. And as I said this, my phone began ringing in my bag. And our in-house Ravana did not want the phone to cause a disturbance in my discourse, so what do you think he did? He grabbed a bag and ran out of the hall in the presence of over 200 people. Okay? And he personified Ravana, how the evil was annihilated. He ran out of the hall and everyone knew it was Ravana running out of the hall. Okay? So, in reality, and I said we must experience. If you come to this satsang is not to experience the beautiful bhajans and go home and say, I am feeling very, very happy, I'm feeling divine, the bhajans made me divine. This is not that type of satsang. The bhajan is there to arrest your mind and bring tranquility to your mind. The reason we sing bhajan or kirtana is to arrest your mind so that in that detention of your mind, this transcendental knowledge can permeate you. This transcendental knowledge can permeate you. Otherwise, if your mind is not arrested, then you're thinking, what is going to happen tomorrow? What is going to happen on your way home? How are you going to eat the vegetables quickly, Jai Bhai, and make sure when you go home, you can pull out the chicken, Roj Bhai. Many, many days, many devotees have been suffering. Roj Bhai, what are you thinking of? Tomorrow. Tomorrow this time, you would have had 2 or 3 good meals. Gratifying meals, not forced meals. You understand? So when these kirtanas are rendered, it arrests your mind and it makes it tranquil so that you can assimilate this discourse. Through assimilation of this discourse, you can experience the experiment. You can experience the experiment. Sanatana Dharma is absolute science This science has been configured in stories so that it could be remembered. Remember, the Vedas is eternally oral, and at the end of Dwapara Yuga, it is written. It comes down in writing in the end of Dwapara Yuga, but all the time it is oral. And it is hard to understand science. Can you understand science as it is? All the scientific formulas, can we retain all the scientific formulas in our mind? All the mathematical formulas in our mind, all the trick formulas in our mind, all the algebra, all the geometry, all the calculus formulas in our mind. Can we remember? But if we take these formulas and we attach a story to it, if we take these formulas and we attach a story to it, is it not easy to understand the story? So we take this story, which has been enacted by the Supreme Lord and the 330 million Devis and Devtas. They came, they enacted in story form so that we can use the story form to apply the scientific formulas in our life. All of you understand? So Ram came down, he lived a life, and at the end of his life, there was a story called the Ramayan. And in every aspect of the Ramayan, there is a scientific formula which is absolute science, but it is in a form of a story. And this story, Dussehra or Vijayadashami, this day entails 3 stories. 3 stories. All these stories are absolute science, but these formulas are dressed up as stories. All of you understand? Because stories are easier to remember. You all know how fast you'll run home to watch stories. Jessica, what stories you like? You run home to watch. Last, when I was watching TV many years ago, it was Days of Our Lives and Bold and Beautiful and Loving. Long, many moons ago. Remember these stories? And now there's Indian channels. What stories? Okay, so people are running home to watch stories. Because stories is appetizing, it's appeasing. It grabs your attention. And there is a connect between you and the story. These are superficial stories that happened yesterday and today. The stories of Sanatana Dharma is absolutely relevant. And if we have to unpack each story is there for a different dimension in your life scientifically. Scientifically. What does science mean? Experience through experiment. Experience through experiment. That is ultimately what science is. And it is absolute. So there are 3 stories that we take cognizance on this day. The story of Ram and his victory over Ravana, the story of Mother Durga and her victory over Mahi Asura, and the story of Lord Krishna and his victory over the demonic in his lifetime in the Mahabharata. So there's 3 stories from 3 scriptures, and these 3 scriptures are the story of the Ramayan, which is history, as we have comprehensively discussed previously, that the Ramayan is not a myth, it is a story that has been confirmed by material science already. We've also stated that the Mahabharata is not a myth, it is a story confirmed already by material science. Then these 700 verses of this episode of the Navaratri is found in the Markandeya Puran. In the Markandeya Puran, which is a bona fide, authentic scripture of Sanatana Dharma. And what is the common theme in all these stories? Common theme in all these stories? Victory over evil. Evil are also impediments in our own life. Is it not? There are only two forces in this universe. Only two forces, positive force and negative force. Only two forces in this universe. When something does not work out for us, it is negative force. When something works out for us, it is positive. If we want victory, victory only comes through positive force, and positive force is represented by the Supreme Lord, and the negative form is represented by the demonic force. Is it not? So we need to, if we need to experience an experiment, then who becomes the subject matter? We. If we need to experience an experiment, then we become the subject matter. Then on a day like this, it is necessary to start focusing inward. Because these external stories, like many Hindu wives, were content with cleaning the house, serving the husband 3 meals a day, and involved in homely chores until they were influenced by days of our life, loving, bold and beautiful. Woman got bold. Woman got bold by learning externally through these programs how to fight with the poor husbands, how to stand up to the poor husbands, and how to start teaching the husbands to cook for them. This was never heard of in Sanatana Dharma, isn't it? Because they now wanted to experience the experiment of the story. Experience the experiment of the story. All of you understand? And now most of the Hindu women dress up like them too. Is it true? Because they want to experience that story even in their dressing. So similarly, these stories were broadcast. The Ramayan was broadcast. The Mahabharata was broadcast. And the various Puranas were broadcast. I'm not talking about TV broadcast. I'm talking about orally broadcast since time immemorial. From one generation to the next generation to the next generation. so that you could emulate the characters portrayed in these various series. These are the series you should be running home to. These are the series you should be running home to. Okay? Not the soapies. Not the soapies. Jessica? Satish Bhai? You must ban soapies in your house. Alright? Soapies spoiled that diligent, faithful wife that you took your 7 vows with in inverted commas. Alright? Soapies destroyed her. So coming back, can you see the science behind this discourse? Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? God Himself, with 330 million Devis and emulated externally how you should change internally. When Lord Ram annihilated Ravana, does it mean, Paddy Bhai, that if you have a problem with your neighbor, you must jump over and kill him? Paddy Bhai? When Lord Sri Krishna fought, or he drove the chariot of Arjuna in the battle of Kurukshetra, does it mean we should go to war against everyone that we meet? Vasudeva? Although we want to. Are you understanding? When Mother Durga annihilated Mahi Asura, do you think she is teaching us to fight our enemies externally? So these external stories have an internal bearing. These external stories have an internal bearing. And on this day, from wherever you travel to the satsang, and whoever is going to listen to this discussion and is currently listening to this discussion, don't waste your data if you're not going to at least make one change. At least one change internally. You must be victorious over your own demons, your weaknesses. And choose the smallest weakness first. Choose your smallest weakness first. And make sure as of this day, you annihilate that smallest weakness. Ladies, I recommend all of you throw the Maha Kali anger at Aarti today. Ladies, this Maha Kali, Bhadra Kali, Durga anger that is potent in you, when we do in Aarti today, leave it here. Alright? I can see the fear on the faces of the husbands. I want the husbands to be peaceful. When the husbands leave home here, I want them to be in absolute tranquility. Rajbhai, when you leave here today, when you drive in home, you must feel and experience the peace. Feel and experience the peace. Alright, ladies? All this is in a joke. Alright? All this is in a joke. But sometimes the husband wants peace. And my favorite example in this piece is that when a female applies mouth breaks, what is mouth breaks? When they try to close the mouth and I give it geographically. So if they press the mouth brakes in Pietermaritzburg, it only holds in If they press the mouth brakes in Pietermaritzburg, it only holds in Durban. Alright? And I always say, and I talk about my own Mataji, alright, experience and experiment from Mataji herself. Before her eyes is open, half the Mahabharata is recited. And when she's fast asleep, the other half of the Mahabharata is recited. Right? So this is a problem we men, even gurus, have to experience. It's called austerities and penances. Don't you think? Don't you think? Very bad. What's your opinion on this topic? Please do not answer, you might not reach home safely. Yeah?
My granddaughter told Nana, when Nana speaks, I just say mute.
Yeah. Now just press mute. And my brothers, believe me, I have power. I'm going to give you the mute button. I'm going to, for free. That's how serious our Maha Kali and all the Kalis are in this satsang. So coming back, take something. Remember, before I became a guru, I was also indulging in a whole lot of things, and I had a different character. And when I met my Guruji, I knew that I have to let go of a whole grocery list of behavioral patterns in my life. But I was practical and I was realistic. I never dreamt in my wildest dreams that one day I will be sitting as a guru. Okay? But my love for my guru was so great that I knew I had to let go of that behavior and those attachments I had in life. But I was also practical. And I started with what I could manage. So Jessica, don't tell me you're going to go home today and you'll never terrorize your family again, verbally. I know that is impossible. So start with something small. And when you get rid of something small each year, it took me 5 years, 2008 to 2013. It took me 5 years. And 5 years is a long time, don't you think? But whatever I left, I didn't go back to. Whatever I left, I didn't go back to. Remember, I come from a military background, a legal background, and a business background. Okay? And I went into the military at a very young age, in my 20s. Okay, so that military is still ingrained in me. And it was difficult for me to come out of that military mindset. Okay? But I was diligent with myself. I gave myself small targets. Being in business and in construction and civil engineering for the latter part of my life, I used to use vulgar language profusely. In fact, there was more vulgar language, Satish Bhai, than English. Okay? But after I met my guru, I had to start making small changes. Okay? And that language has somehow disappeared. Because we as humans do not have the power to take away these addictions. All vulgarity is an addiction, isn't it? Yes, because I'm addicted to that behavior. Jessica's terrorizing her family violently is an addiction. Is it not, Jessica? Yes. So we do not have the power to switch off our addictions, otherwise we would have done it a long time ago. So you come to satsang and you hand over these addictions to the Supreme Being. And He will empower you to cut out your addictions one by one. Okay, I don't think I would be doing justice if I do not conclude by explaining who our Guruji is. Alright, in this Navaratri 2015, in this Navaratri period in 2015, I attended a ceremony in New Delhi when Guru Ma was still alive, and that's when I came back to South Africa and I started preaching as an Acharya. When I was preaching from 2013, I was sitting on that side, I used to preach and go back and sit on that side. When I went to India in 2013, in this Navaratri, then I was asked to sit on this side and preach. You understand? I didn't want to, it was not my intention to sit on this esteemed seat. But I was asked by my superiors not to sit there, but to come and sit here and preach as an Acharya. I was initiated in 2013. I was asked in 2015. So it is an auspicious time for us as an institution, because that instruction that I followed has made us one of the foremost institutions in the world currently in preaching Sri Vaishnavism. We are one of the foremost institutions in the world preaching Sri Vaishnavism in English. So it is auspicious, and we need to take cognizance of this day. But more than that is our Guruji. Guruji was born in 1937. From the age of 3, he became a saint. His entire life of 70 years, he took when he met Lord Narayan in his 12 years of penances in the forest. Lord Narayan asked Guruji, what do you want for your austerities and penances? And Guruji stated, I only want one thing. And Lord Narayan asked him to express what he wanted. He said, I only want to remove the suffering of mankind. I only want to remove the suffering of mankind. And since then, whoever has been connected to Guruji through any branch anywhere in the world, just looking at Guruji, look at him, and he can look back at you. All suffering has come to an end. All suffering, whoever diligently and faithfully surrendered to Guruji and asked him to remove their suffering came to an end with immediate effect. And currently it is Guruji's spirituality and potency that is fixing up spiritually the world over, whoever requires Guruji's assistance. Okay? So when you're doing your arti today, whatever is in your mind, whatever is in your heart, ask Guruji with faith. Ask Guruji with faith. And I just want to give you a sad story. I think a few months ago, I think about 4 or 5 months ago, parents came in here with a small 4-year-old child. How many of you remember? This child was in a comatose state. But when this child came to satsang in a wheelchair, and the child was asked to be wheelchaired to the front, this baby started responding to this satsang. From 8 months of lying in one position, this baby started responding. So this baby came through Vishwadar Ramanuj Das from Johannesburg, connected to him, this parents and this child landed in the satsang. And I asked the parents, because it is very, very sensitive. It is very sensitive to force someone into an understanding. It is sensitive, I understand, alright? But I just want to place on record that we spoke to this family and we informed them that at this satsang, similar situations, people were cured. Yes, Benita Beni right in the front here. Yes, Tivashni, there's Vasudeva, Nilendri, countless people, whoever is sitting here, their life has changed. This satsang, I don't want followers. I'm not looking for followers. My Guruji never told me to go look for followers. He told me assist people in their pain and their misery. That's all Guruji told me. That's what this mission is. So when we asked this family to attend satsang regularly, then they told Vishwadar Ramanuj Das that they are going to 4 places already. And they don't want to lose the insurance of the other 4 places. I tried my best, but I am limited. I can only do if you open the bonnet. I can only repair if you open the bonnet. If you keep the bonnet closed, I have no capacity to force open the bonnet. It is not ethical, it's not moral to force anybody into it. But this is a repair shop. This is a repair shop. When you come here, open your bonnet and let the Guru do the repairs. You understand? And this poor child, he came I think about 5 times. Every time he came to satsang, he used to dance for the bhajan. He used to move his legs, which he never did before. And his parents could see that from the 5 places they are going, he only becomes calm and responsive at this place. So they're supposed to use their intelligence and say, if this activity is happening here, then let us follow the regulative principles of this institution. And that poor baby had to leave this world, you understand? So, it is necessary, if we are saying we are practicing absolute science, then Jeba, it is necessary to discuss these things. It is absolutely necessary to discuss these things. Are there any questions? Have you a program, Vanita Beni? Will it be after Aarti or before? After Aarti. Okay. I want to do Guruji's Aarti today. I want to do Guruji's Aarti today. Bhai, you and your entire family can come in the front. All those that and you all can share the Aarti, your family. Alright? Who else is new here that two of you could come to? Anyone else is for the first time here? Yeah, come Bobby. You all come too. You can share it amongst yourselves, alright? You can talk in your Aarti, guys. You can ask Guruji. In your Aarti, you and Bobby, you can ask whatever you want.
Take a bow.
Swami Jai Shri Guru विश्वदेव शान्ति ब्रह्मा शान्ति सर्वगं शान्ति शान्तिरेव शान्ति सामा शान्तिरेवि ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति।
बोलो श्री सुदर्शन महाराज की
जय।
बोलो श्री आचार्य श्याम रामानुज की
जय।
श्रीमान नारायण जय जय।